Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Ryan. Good evening, Peter.
Hey,
And
we're
how are
used
you?
to it now. We know the
Yes,
time
yes.
differences.
Well, it's 6 a.m. here and 8 p.m. there.
Yep, exactly right. And we got the 14-hour cycle worked out, so good
But it
stuff.
is the same day.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's always the very same moment of now, though, isn't it? It just goes to show you
Well,
how linear time is just such a made-up thing, really, isn't it? I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you now, not 14 hours ago. That would, if that were the case, it'd be we'd be, real amazing time travelers, wouldn't we?
well, maybe we are really amazing time travelers and just forgot.
That's a possibility, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, you asked me a topic, and as I indicated to you, I've been dealing with divine feminine, divine masculine the last couple of days. I don't know if you want to go there. I mean, I'm really flexible.
Yeah, I kind of don't know. I'm in this space at the moment that I don't know it. I don't know the space I'm in, and when I go to my usual sort of in-breath quiet sort of place, nothing's the same.
Oh, wow,
Wow.
it just says not recording.
Okay.
Is yours recording?
Yes, mine is recording one local, one remote, and three audio streams. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any lasting memories from that or
I rewatched it probably about 6 months ago or something like that, and
Oh,
um,
okay.
and I found it to be very inspiring, but I also found it to Gandhi was really good and really switched on, but I don't think the time was right there for a political solution of any kind. And in the end, even though he was great and everything, he did sort of um, fail in unifying India really because of the split between India and Pakistan, and that's had dire consequences in the world. There now you got two nations there that are pointing nuclear missiles at each other, and that's a real shame. Um, yeah, but
Yes, it
what
is.
an unbelievable guy, and what an unbelievable battle between the two forces, and uh, just an unbelievable clash, and how he managed to keep so many people of different persuasions and religions and everything together. That's just evidence of an unbelievable charisma, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It surprised me because I hadn't remembered, and it was 30 years ago. I hadn't remembered that the opening scene was his murder.
Yeah,
I had thought that would have been the end scene, but it was the opening scene of the movie.
yeah,
And when I saw it coming on, I thought, my goodness, this is strange. It's starting at the end. But of course, I've actually written books, and others have written books that sort of have a conclusion at the beginning, and then it goes back and it has the flashback and tells the story. So
yeah.
that was the modality of the movie. But I
That's
only
a
watched it up until the midpoint because they were actually going to stay. They allowed a 2 hour time slot for a movie that's over 3 hours long.
yeah. That's handy.
And I asked the guy who planned it. He's a good friend of mine. He says, "How are you going to do that? You're going to run it on fast forward?" And of course, he says, "No, we'll get it in. How 3D of you? We'll get it done." But
We just have to view it not in linear time. Yeah,
well, we're gonna view part two of it here at my place on Thursday night. So the
yeah.
people that left when I did will be coming to my house on Thursday night to watch the second half of the movie.
Yep. Well, they certainly assassinated him right on time for their side, because if he'd have gone over into Pakistan and brought them back together, you would have had a united India, and then I think the whole deck of cards in the power game in the world would have been completely different.
Yes.
if that rift hadn't occurred. So you got to say that Gandhi came awfully dang close to tipping the scales. He really did. Um, just an amazing energy, really. But I guess the time wasn't right for that to be resolved then. I think the time is right for that to be resolved now, I suppose. I hope.
I agree, and I mean the OPPT, of course, is really a game changer. Is I think you're in agreement with me on that, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It is a game changer, and the one people now is a game changer, and then the game has been changed, and now there are other players coming forward, and the game is completely being played on a different playing field, and that's what I'm feeling at the moment. Is that wherever I go within myself, the energy is completely different, and it's an energy I don't know. I don't know its flavor. I don't know what it tastes like, what it feels like. I'm feeling emotions that have no name, that are unknown to me. Um, it's yeah, something shifted in the field, and the whole field has shifted. It's like I know my normal pendulum swing from left to right, and I know everything in between. And it just feels like the very air that the pendulum is actually swinging through has changed. It's a different gas. Everything's there, but it's different. And I just don't know what to make of it. I really don't. I know there's a shift happening. There's big things afoot, because you sense an energy that is it's come here from somewhere. It's a real huge shift in magnetics, and they're just different particles flowing through the field. That's the only way I can put it. And I'm trying to make sense of it at the moment. And at the same time, I'm working together with a bunch of people on a new paradigm document, to have a look at sort of alternative forms of government, and what a moneyless and governmentless society could possibly look like.
Yeah,
Which is
we're certainly at an interesting crossroads right now, and I'm also feeling the shift in energy. Uh,
Yeah, I
One of
think.
the manifestations for me is I'm feeling like my house is mine, even though on the court documents, I think I haven't looked recently, but the last I did look, it was still listed as being owned by the bank, even
Mm,
though I have all brought forth all the documentation, and I had, they would have a fight taking it from me, which I may not have to fight. I'm feeling like it may not come down to a legal battle. So I don't know, but it something has shifted for me too, and it's
yeah.
hard to put a label on it. So I totally agree with you.
Well, I could sense that when you're having that little stoush with Bill. I knew that was something shifting in you, and Bill has shifted too. He said he's made his final video. He's not going to talk anymore. Said everything there is to say. So everybody is really shifting at the moment. I could really sense that in your video yesterday too. That and at the end of it, there was that sort of strange emotion for me. That emotion that I didn't know that I felt when I was watching, sort of when you were getting towards the end of your video there. And what's this emotion, and I'm not resisting it. I'm feeling it, but at the same time, I'm trying to. What is it? I don't know what it is. It's not fear. It's not love. It's not any color that I know. It's completely different, and it's just has me stumped at the moment. I just can't put my finger on it, and in a way, that's really good, because when you don't know something, then you're not labeling, you're not categorizing, and there's that infinite field of potentiality is there. That joy of not knowing. Yeah, it's a joy. For most people, it isn't, because in your daily life you get taught that you need to plan and measure everything. And the funny thing was, I was talking to somebody who's a bit of a self-made Sanskrit scholar, and we were talking about Maya. Maya usually translated as illusion from
Right.
Sanskrit, and he said there was a secondary meaning to it in a slightly different form of Sanskrit, and that meaning of Maya is to measure. And
Mm.
the left brain is all about measuring time, measuring this, comparison, measurement, and
Analysis.
analysis. Exactly right. So the illusion is that domination of the left brain awareness, So Maya, the veil of illusion, the illusion of the world is really the illusion of the mind measuring. And when you get to that space where the mind is not measuring, you first have to come to acceptance that you're in a space where you don't know. You just don't know, and you can accept. You can expect nothing from it. There's no security in it, and that's what the mind tries to measure it out, so it knows what's going on, so that we're secure, so that we know how to respond. But once you let go of all that, then you reach that point, and that's what they call in spirituality, I guess, the gateless gate, because you have to jump into that void of not knowing, that emptiness, and then once
Which
you
is the
jump
womb.
in,
That void, I've always looked at the void as the womb of creation.
yes, yes, absolutely. And then when you leap into it, you interact with it. So you put an action into that, and then there's a corresponding counter reaction. And that's what I call inspiration. That's what I call divine inspiration. And so that whole field has changed, and now there are different potentialities in there. And I'm enjoying that in one way, but my rational mind is just having a, even though you delve into the emptiness, your rational mind gets used to it. It says, okay, this is just a point where I accept that I don't have to lead, but I'll follow, and then I'll do the analysis afterwards, because I know that's my place now. Okay, I'm not running in front of the master. I'm two steps behind, and then, once he's been through that experience, I'll help him analyze it, and in that way, your left brain becomes your best friend. Because you have to ground it. You have to make every divine inspiration, you have to make real. You have to bring it into 3D. I'm not one of those guys who wants to escape out of 3D into 5D, or we have to go into 5D, or whatever it is. Yeah, sure, we have to experience every dimension, and we do experience every dimension all the time anyway, because we exist from nothing to everything. So we are really all D, and it's just where our attention point shifts is what we're experiencing. So we have to make that real. We have to make everything real. And
That's the whole point of
yep.
creation, as far as I can see.
Yep.
It's to make physical that which is spiritual.
Yes.
That's what they mean by we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and it's to ground the spirituality into physicality.
Yep.
It's not to escape physicality, which is what a lot of spiritual traditions have given us, unfortunately.
Mm.
And we're still in that modality. Many people are still in that modality, fighting for the escape
Yes, that's right.
instead of for the grounding.
Well, my motto in my own exploration of myself and my own spirituality is you have to go with what is now, what there is now, and you do that internally, and I do that externally too. When I look into the world, I see people starving, I see exploitation, I see all that sort of stuff happening, and I've seen it within myself too, and to an extent, have fixed that within myself, seen the conditioning, and been able to overcome it. And where do you stop? Do you just say I'm okay, and so screw the rest? I don't think so. And this is where a lot of people buy into a type of spirituality that gives them the value they seek. The value of feeling okay. And to me, any spirituality that offers you an alternative to what is real, is an escape. And a lot of people buy into a form of spirituality that offers them an escape.
Yeah, that it's all done by definition. They say, well, it's an illusion. It's not. They don't call the actual experience that people are having. They don't call that reality. They say, well, it's an illusion, and they can use the the new science
Yep.
to prove that there's no such thing as matter. It's all energy.
Yeah.
And the old spiritual traditions, they use that. And, well, it's just as you said, it's Maya, it's an illusion, it's not real. But it is real.
Yeah.
Experience is never an illusion. Experience is always real.
that's why the measurement definition makes a really, really big difference to the whole concept of Maya, because Maya then means that it's only in thought and it's only in the left brain that we experiencing an illusion, a description, a representation. But there's actually something going on. It doesn't say that the Maya of the illusion, this is the veil of illusion, or Maya of measurement. Maya of measurement says there is an illusion within our reality. So when you look at Maya from the perspective of measurement, then you see that there is a reality and that you have an illusory representation of it in your left brain, in your head. And it's not until you shift into your heart that your heart begins to control how you think and how the hemispheres of your brain interact. That you start to deal with the real, So for me, anything that substitutes reality for something else is not a real spirituality. Although,
I
at the same token, I have to say that some people may be holding the extremes of polarity. Like, some in love and light might just be their job to just hold that polarity and play with that polarity. But you know, who knows? I can't judge another really, but for me, I've got to say there are starving people, and I'm not happy until they're all fed.
Yeah, I of course wrestled with that whole thing a lot in my life, balancing the extremes, the feeling, the thoughts and the feelings, and
Yeah,
and so many people say, well, you're in your head, get out of thought, let your mind go into mindlessness. Well, I'm sorry, that's part of me too, and I'm not into the spirituality of exclusion. I'm into the spirituality of inclusion. Yet
yes,
Spirit keeps
yeah,
saying to me,
yeah. We're
but
both and
everybody
people.
is everybody is playing a role.
Yep,
So you may not understand the role that the people are playing that are into the spirituality of exclusion, but
yep,
their job is important and is being done as well.
yep.
And so Spirit saying, well, don't judge them. You don't understand where they're coming from. That's okay.
Yeah,
But just
I
let
guess
them
we're
be. They're
both.
doing.
Sorry, I guess we're both. Both and people. Really. You know. And
Yes,
sure,
we are.
if you can't go to the emptiness, you cannot have inspiration. Emptiness is going to that unlimited field of potentiality, and then somehow touching something in that and bringing that back and then translating it into feeling and then translating it into thought. And it's just when even if you go into emptiness, going into emptiness means nothing if you're processing straight through the head and it doesn't go through the heart. So then you just end up with representation of something you sensed in a nothingness. But when that nothingness comes through feeling, because we're predominantly feeling creatures, humans, not necessarily emotion, but feeling. And we're feeling creatures. And when it comes in through feeling, when you go into emptiness and it gets translated through feeling and then goes to the brain and triggers thought, that's where the whole thing is complete. Because, it's not just being in your heart, because just being in your heart without any critical faculty of thought in your head, you can really get lost in dreams and lost in all sorts of subdimensions and subplots and it's your critical function of thought that is built into you so you can deal with that. But by the same token, if it's only the critical function of thought, then you're just representing again. The thought is not the thing. I can think about that tree, but if I'm not touching it, I'm not in touch with it. So to me, it's you got to be in the heart, but the heart's got to fire the head, because if the head's not working with the heart, then you're in a disconnect. Then and then you tend to get very dreamy and escapist, and then there's the gut, the gut, the connection to the physical and other level too, but the physical connection, the umbilical to everything around you, to the oneness of the world, where you connect through you're a neuron that's firing in the brain of the world, and your gut is your connection, is your dendrite nervous strand that connects it to another neuron. So if your gut's not working and you're just in your heart, you're just floating away, you're just dreaming. If you're just in your head, you're just representing. If you're just in your gut, you're kind of just like, I feel connected to everything, but what the hell do I do now? Because I don't know how to feel and I don't know how to think. So it's all about, it's both and. It's everything is in, 3D, 4D, 5D, Schmo-D. You can make as many Ds as you like because, as soon as you push, and that's quantum science too, I suppose, as soon as you push the boundary of what the mind or what the universe is, because the universe is mind, chitta, mind stuff. The moment I get to the limit of the universe, the moment I get to it, when I'm just about to reach for it, it will expand again, because the mind wants to create. The mind is the instrument by which creation happens, and its job is to create, create, create so many new experiences, and it will never, never, ever end. And so the mind as a tool of creation is fantastic if the inspiration for that creation comes out of emptiness, and the grounding for that inspiration is in the gut, which is your oneness, your connectedness to the web of life, to the giant brain that this planet is. So, I suppose everybody fulfills functions in it, and then it says, "Oh, you just got to be in the heart, and you'll be okay." And that's good. Everybody sort of holds a polarity there, I suppose. But to me, I want it all, Ron. I want it all. I want the emptiness. I want the spiritual 5D awareness, and I want this goddamn planet to be fixed geopolitically as well. I want it all. I want it all on the plate. That's my birthright. That's what I understand all our birthrights are. And I'm not going to rest until it comes to be. And whatever I have to do to take it there is what I'm going to do. Whatever step that I can see that I can contribute to solving the problems of this world, and for me that is very much working with conditioning, because our conditioning is really what's holding us from our greatness. And once we drop conditioning, so for me the battlefield is really within the human psyche. I loved your video with Aristo, for instance, and then this unbelievable clarity that Aristo has in intellectual capacity, in putting it in I don't know, quantum physical intellectual terms is just brilliant. And I'm sort of a little bit more sort of touchy-feely, I guess, and a little bit more psychologically oriented. And there's just this beautiful exchange going on between yourself and what Aristo's doing, and my angle into it, and we're all very supportive of each other. And I think the three of us all agree that this physical dimension is damn important, because this is where it's hard to get it right. Okay, this is where it's hard to get it right, because it's hands-on, and it's banging heads, and it's butting heads, and and this is where all the energies become physically. I can touch it, taste it, smell it, feel it, real. Whereas in other spaces, everything's dreamy and floaty and malleable, and it doesn't matter so much because you don't feel so involved. But when you're in this sort of this meat suit, in this isolation bubble, then it all becomes really acute and critical. And so for me, when it all fires in my physical existence in alignment with everything else, that is where the real meat of it is. That's where the meat and potatoes and the gravy comes together. That's where you're really alive, when you get into a situation where your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, what you might want to call your causal body, spirit, soul, where that's all aligned. That's when you're alive. And God, it beats 5D awareness when you have actually functioning multi-D awareness, and so stop escaping. Let's get to work. Let's make it all real. Let's fight the battles that need to be fought within the psyche, and let's just make it happen. And that's what I'm feeling at the moment too, is that we're getting so close to sorting this thing out and creating this unbelievable paradise on this planet. And man, I'm just I'm just really, really fired up. And this change of energy is actually, I think as we're talking here now, I'm actually starting to quantify it. It's actually starting to take shape, and it's actually beginning to confirm right here, right now, in this moment, to me, that it is possible, and that we are going to push this thing over the hill, and this mining cart is going to start rolling down, and pick up
Yeah.
huge momentum.
Yeah, I agree, and then we're right getting close to the half-hour mark, and that includes the talking about VOD burner and Skype and everything,
Yeah.
and we may leave that right in there. So
Well, I kind of stopped and went back, so I've got what have I got? I haven't got my glasses on. Excuse me, folks. Yes, I am getting old. I wear glasses. I've got 23 minutes on the clock here, so um, that's
start from the
probably
very beginning of our conversation then.
yeah. I don't know what happened there, but I've got
Okay.
about 1 minute where we're saying hello, and then I went to test it, and then I started again. So I didn't actually press record on time or something. So sorry about the technical difficulties, folks. But that's what you get when
Yeah.
two old boys are playing with technology.
There you go. Anyway, it doesn't have to even be 30 minutes. I mean, some of them go over, but I really appreciate the things you said, and I resonate so much with you and Aristo, and I thought I did with Bill too, but I guess not. But then again, as you said, we're coming around, and I suspect that in the days and weeks ahead, there might even be some other people that I'll be doing interviews with. A
Yeah.
lady from a lady from Maryland contacted me, but we haven't actually talked yet. But she looks interesting to maybe have a video with uh, some of the things that she has suggested to me. So who knows what the future holds? But I do think that there's a shift happening
Oh yeah.
that is palpable, and it's going to bring changes that we can finally see and tangible results in the geopolitical financial world that we live in.
Yep. Well, next time we talk, we'll probably have finished my white paper on the paradigm, so maybe that'll be a topic for discussion. And Lucas Christians and I will, from Lucas Info Blogs, will be putting a sort of podcast radio show together very soon, which will start to air. Probably do the first one next week. We're calling that because we, both. Well, Lucas is Dutch and I'm half Dutch, so we're calling it Double Dutch Radio. And people,
And you invited me, so that makes it triple Dutch.
there we go. Yeah, triple Dutch. It's amazing how many Dutch people. Some of the people I'm working on the paradigm paper with are of Dutch extraction as well. So I guess we're doing well, but. We're just going to have to blend in and be world citizens, though. So screw being Dutch or American or Australian, or we're world citizens, and hopefully we are already citizens of a new and better place. But yep, I think we'll leave it at that then, because now we're definitely hitting the 25, 26 minute mark, I think. So we'll call it quits, and I'm looking forward to watching your next videos and seeing your next interviews, and then maybe next time we'll talk on the radio, or we might do one together here first. But yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing the discussion and continuing the widening our circle of our viewers and friends, and that's been really fantastic too. The sort of cross pollination that's going on there, and I've noticed that some people have actually befriended on Facebook over people that have watched my videos and then seen my video with you, and then became friends with your friends, and that's just a fantastic thing to watch that all unfold, and a great privilege to be part of your life and of your audience too, and a great privilege to have that in my life as well. So thank you very much, Ron.
And thank you, Peter. I really appreciate you, and thank you for doing this video. And again, we'll do more.
No worries.
Namaste now.
Namaste.
Okay.